The following is a presentation of 13ABC Action News. Now, your table is ready. Join 13ABC's Jeff Smith with the decision makers of Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. This is the Roundtable.
Hi there and good afternoon. Welcome to the month of May here on the Roundtable program. We so appreciate you spending part of your Sunday with us. Celebrations in the air all around Northwest Ohio as we start to close the book on another school year here in the region and around the country. Of course, college campuses, a changing dynamic over the last couple of years with the changing economy. Those traditional things have become non-traditional, especially when it comes to the graduates and what they face as far as the future is concerned. Sure, there are the traditional students out there, but we wanted to really put the focus this afternoon on the new graduating faces of 2012 here in Northwest Ohio. You know, and I'll tell you guys, you'll probably attest to this, but so much before was dedicated during the course of the school year, recruiters coming in to those school campuses looking for people to take to those businesses back out. But now it's become more of your job to go out there and seek work, and we have seen that in every industry. We tried to represent as best we could here on the Roundtable today, not only having representatives from BGSU, Owens Community College, but also the University of Toledo. Let me introduce my guests. First, Sally Williams and Mark Minnick, both from BGSU. They make up a duo, a violin duo called Revamped, and we are welcoming you to the Roundtable. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
We'll get into their life and what it has become over the last 4 years down in Bowling Green. Also with us, Geraldine Davis. Thank you so much for being here from Owens Community College. A big weekend this weekend.
Yes.
Of course. And we're going to talk about the backstory a little bit. And also, Ali Badran, thank you for being here representing, keeping up the University of Toledo side of things.
Thank you.
Good to see all of you. I will start with Sally and Mark. And you guys, when you started school, it was always about music. You have had music in your veins since you were very young. When you look at your industry and what you guys want to do, let our focus be, first of all, what you guys do, and let our viewers know what you're going to do with it.
All right. You want to start?
Go ahead.
All right.
Ladies first.
Well, when you graduate with a music degree, it's not a type of thing where you go and you get a job and you do that job for the next 40 years. It's a constantly morphing, self-made career where you do a huge variety of things, almost always including teaching, sometimes privately, other times if you're lucky in a university or a school. There's a lot of performing in solo opportunities. For us, it's a violin duo or other small chamber groups, and just a lot of playing in area orchestras and a lot of constantly changing things that you get to be a part of.
Now, you also compose, correct?
Yes, I do.
And is that something that will broaden itself into being a bigger, I guess, lifestyle?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the composition field is somewhat limited in terms of, again, career options. It's one of those tricky things, but it always, I think, just helps to make you a more well-rounded musician.
Yeah.
And I am hoping that some career opportunities will open up with that as well.
Now, I got to jump right into the interesting thing of your guys' backstory and reading up on the two of you a little bit. You both come in your freshman year, and there was a connection from a music standpoint. Was there a lot of competition between the two of you? Mark, go ahead.
I think there was a lot of competition surrounding us, but then once we got into performing together, there wasn't a whole lot of competition between us. We found so many similarities between the two of us, and really felt that connection when we were performing and when we were being friends, hanging out together.
Yeah. So, and I got to put out there for our viewers, you guys are set to be married.
Yes.
Yes.
In July, is it? So just a few months away. So obviously there was not only a connection from the standpoint of a music connection, but also a love connection there happening at BGSU. You broadened this into a group, a duo, and you called yourselves Revamped. What does that title mean?
Well, one of the things that we like to do is to take old pieces or any piece that we really enjoy playing and make it new again, make it our own style.
Okay.
Or mix it with other styles.
Some of the classics.
Yes.
Not only, and I noticed when we were watching, you guys have some clips up on YouTube. We pulled some of those to show the people at home, but some of those pieces that you picked, popular popular music, things like Charlie Daniels Band, and you said that's one of your most requested pieces.
Right, yeah. When people know that we're violinists, pretty much the first thing they ask is, oh, can you play Devil Went Down to Georgia?
Yeah.
And so we obliged them by quoting it in one of our pieces, Chardash.
And one of the things that happens here, and people are going to see if they watch some of these clips, you guys play each other's violin. You step in. When and how and why did that start?
Well, it was sort of an interesting process.
Well, we had seen some examples of similar things, but never to the extent that we took it.
Okay.
So some of it started with us trying that out, then taking it to a greater extent, seeing, well, could we do this? Is it possible?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I had this idea where I thought it would be really cool if we, somewhere in the middle of the piece, switched violins. People could see, like, oh, look, I can play his violin and he can play my violin.
Are they different?
They are.
Okay.
Every instrument is always a little bit different.
Okay.
But I hated to stop the music. I thought that it would lose all its energy if we just stopped playing and then switch violins. Seems a little strange. So I thought for a while and came up one day like, oh, I think I know how we can do it if we can switch violins while we're actually playing. And then that just sort of expanded. We both kept getting ideas of different ways we could each play on the same violin or play two violins or switch back. Or,
Yeah. A lot of trial and error?
Yeah, it was.
Not enough error that we broke anything, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's good to know.
We've never dropped a violin.
Geraldine, I'm intrigued. You and Ollie both, and you went to school. You did that route. You got into the work world, and we have talked for years here on 13 ABC as far as the economics, where things were going as far as the economy is concerned, and how that was forcing so many people into going back to school to retool. You fall into that lot.
Yes.
What happened to you?
Well, it was a lot of little things that became one big thing, such as I was selling insurance, and with the economy bottoming out like it did, fortunately I didn't lose any clients, but I didn't gain any new ones like I needed to. Mm-hmm. So that, of course, causes you to look at different things to do. And then my grandchildren
and just like anything, and let me just jump in, just like anything, you needed to expand that client base to succeed.
Right, and that wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. So I turned to education. I decided since that wasn't working, I'd follow my dream. I always wanted to be a writer.
As you say that, and I'm thinking, how tough is that to make that call personally, to be able to say, I'm just going to cut off income at this point, and I'm going to dump a bunch of income, a bunch of savings into going back to school?
It was kind of tough. It was. I'm not going to lie, because you're right. You know, you don't have as much income coming in, and then what you do have, you know, you see it slowly dwindling away. Do you let it keep sliding, or do you decide that you're going to take it and move forward with something else? And I decided to, you know, put the fears aside. I've always lived with those kind of fears. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do that anymore. So I just went into getting an education and seeing if I could improve on what I wanted to do.
So from insurance back to school and to the writing field.
Yes. Yes.
That's a huge leap. It's a huge leap of faith, if you will.
Well, yes, it is. Thank you. My faith is what caused me to do it. I mean, if I'm going to trust in God, I'm going to do it. Yeah. And that was it for me. And I knew that I would be okay. So I just moved forward with it.
We're going to get to the next step in your life in just a moment as far as the next couple. I know you're taking step by step. We talked about that before we came on air. Ollie, you also looking at this scenario where school happened long ago in relative terms, and then there was a break. Let people know about the path that you've taken getting us up to this point this weekend.
Well, I started school back in 1982, the beginning of 1982. And then the last time I attended was in '89. Then I took a break just to see how would I improve in life, you know, proceed in life. And fulfilling my dream, like having a degree, it was always in my mind all the time. But I thought like I'm gonna do it on my own, like in the business world. Yeah. So I pretty much like changed from different jobs. You know, I've just name whatever jobs, I mean, you could think about. I have worked in that field. I end up in the auto industry.
And you ran through some of that list for me. You said you did everything from
like gas station, grocery stores, clothing business, retail, carpet cleaning, pressure wash, insurance industry. I did work in insurance industry, but I ended up like in the auto industry in the sales field. And it was just like in my mind, like I wanted to go back to school and finish up my degree, because this is one of my dreams. I really do have it in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And I end up like being an independent contractor with FedEx. And then I had an accident in 2006, which really forced me to regroup and rethink all my life, you know, and what priorities in life I need to have. And then I made my decision. I made up my mind that I need to go back and finish school.
Yeah. And from the question that I asked Geraldine, and the fact of how big of a step was it for you to say, I have this money here that I am going to devote specifically to more education, and you hope in the back of your mind, just like you guys hope, that is going to eventually, that investment is going to pay off.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you have to really believe in things. I always believed in the power of knowledge, because money, you could get it, you could lose it anytime. But knowledge, once you have it and you can capitalize on it, nobody can take it away from you.
Yeah.
That was the main, my main, focus right there. And I always wanted to have my degree. I only had like one course left, and I kept saying like, oh, okay, it's gonna be, I could come back anytime and do it. Well, anytime coming back, it didn't happen until a major thing happened in my life.
Yeah.
And then I had to regroup my thinking and think what's like the faults I did in life, what's the steps I should have done in life. And I just took that decision with not even looking back. I mean, what's I'm gonna do.
The question that faces all of you, and as we start to see, there's kind of an ebb and flow to where we are in this economy. You guys graduating for the first time from college, what is your take on getting out there, so to speak? Quote unquote, you have graduation and then you've got to go out into the working world. For new grads, which we keep airing stories that says, this is terrible. This is just a terrible climate for graduating seniors. Do you see it that way?
Well, I think one of the things for us in school is to make as many options for ourselves as possible, especially, like Sally was saying, for her bachelor's in performance and composition, being a music theory TA right now, and doing work in all those different fields in music. And for myself, focusing mostly on the performance, but trying to imagine in the future we would like to keep open to perform a lot in our duo, to have other ensembles, to
You are both Ohio born and raised.
Yes.
You said from Elyria, I believe, and
from Swanton.
From Swanton, okay, so right in our backyard. And is the goal to branch out?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Next year is taking us to Pennsylvania to go to school at Penn State. And it's interesting because it is sort of a daunting thing to be coming out of college, especially as a musician, where there's not really like a lot of job opportunities that say, oh, we want you to have a music performance degree and we'll hire you to do something. It just doesn't really exist. And I was thinking just the other day, I actually feel like...
Those recruiters I spoke about, I mean, they're just not there.
Yeah. I feel almost as if I'm a professional student at this point. And I graduated last year with my bachelor's degree, and I'm graduating this year with my master's in performance. So I'm going into, I guess, which will be my 19th year now of school, and have been fortunate enough to have an assistantship, which not only waives tuition, but gives me a job and pays me some sort of income. So it's as if I'm being, quite honestly, employed to be a student. So that's sort of an interesting prospect.
Your other students, your fellow students who are also graduating, I mean, is there that vibe right now that it is a daunting future?
I've heard it from a lot of our friends that it's a lot easier right now for us to be in school as music students than to go out and to look for jobs.
So they're almost jealous of you at this point. And for you, I mean, go ahead and tell folks as we get ready to go to our first break, you've got something happening in a couple of months.
Yes, I do. I have my first book coming out in July. It's the reason why I decided to go back to school was because I do want to be a writer, and school has helped me to get to where I want to be. So for me, it's not as hard as like for the other students, because I'm not looking for employment in the traditional way. But you still have to be good enough to have a publisher, have someone look at it seriously and put it out there.
They're
for
taking
you.
a chance on you just like you took a chance on yourself.
Right, right.
We're going to go to our first break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this on the Roundtable.